Everyone's favourite European football leagues are back. Serie A, La Liga, the Premier League, we're all back in action. So I thought it would be a good time to highlight some of the problems that you might not have thought about before when betting on these leagues, and something to just take into account before you start betting for the whole season on the English Premier League especially. But before I get into the nuts and bolts of this video, just a quick disclaimer on this video and all the videos on our channel. I, or no one else on this channel, is a financial advisor. This is just educational content aimed at improving your sports betting. There is a risk of losing money when betting, and the choices you make with your money is completely up to you. So please be responsible when betting.
It is a scam when you don't allow everyone to operate on fair terms.
We are the Robin Hoods of sports betting. We take something back from the rich bookies and enable our customers to beat them instead.
Now, being that the English Premier League is one of the biggest leagues in the world, if not the biggest football league in the world, there becomes a problem with that, in the fact that there's so many people betting on it, there's so much news surrounding it, there's so much data available that it's almost impossible or very, very hard to get an edge on the English Premier League. If you just think to yourself, how many people know what the English Premier League is? How many people are betting the English Premier League? There's probably millions of people betting this worldwide. So in terms of information and data, it's all out there. It's easily accessible for anyone around the world. Everything's kind of been factored into those odds, and you're going to need to have some kind of special model or some really unique advantage against the bookmakers to be able to beat them long term. Not only are the bookmakers sharper on those bigger markets like the English Premier League, but also the sports bettors are too. Because there's more money to be bet on the English Premier League, because there's more liquidity there for big betting syndicates or professional sports bettors, that means that there's going to be sharper minds out there. So the more money that you're allowed to bet on a market equals more sharper bettors. Your likes of betting syndicates like Star Lizard from Tony Bloom and Matthew Benham's Smart Odds, when there's more money in the market, there's a lot more likeliness that these guys are going to be betting into those markets. And I hate to say it, but they're probably a lot more sharper than you. They've got all the statistics in the world, all the data available in the world. They've got highly complex statistical models aimed at beating the bookmakers. So overall, you're almost in a situation where it's impossible to beat them long term, because you've just got more powerful bookmakers, more powerful syndicates there trying to beat the market also. So instead of spending all your time on the English Premier League or the Serie A or the La Liga, these massive leagues, you're probably better off spending your time on a league where there's less information, or I guess less people spending their time trying to bet that league. You can almost guarantee there's way more people betting on the English Premier League than the Championship or League One or League Two. So let's just take League Two for an example. It's a much smaller league than the English Premier League. There's less people following it. There's less money there's less liquidity in the market, so not as many people, or at least the really sharp people, are less likely to be wanting to bet it, because there's not as much to gain for them, because there's not as much money to bet and less money to be made. So if you can get really good at understanding all the teams in League 2, how they play, all the data surrounding them, maybe you can find the best websites for news, it's a lot more easier to try and beat that league than it would be the English Premier League. You could also take approaches of even just understanding each team and how important each player is to them if there's injury news, and then you can kind of bet according to that. So overall, if your goal is to gain as big of an edge as possible and maximize your return on investment every time you bet, you're much better spending your time on leagues where there's less information around, and where I guess the bookmakers don't understand the teams as well, and where the best bettors in the world aren't betting. And if you want a quick tip on how to find small leagues or leagues where there's less information available and that you can exploit, the easiest thing you can do is go to a sharp bookmaker like Pinnacle. if you have access to that bookmaker, of course, and just have a browse around on all of the smaller leagues, so League 2 for example, and have a look at how much money you can bet on the 1x2 market or the Asian handicap market over under goals market. If that number's relatively low, so if you're talking about the Premier League, you can bet tens of thousands of euros on each single game. If you can find a market where maybe you can only bet 500 euros or something a little less than that, that means that the bookmakers are not as confident in their pricing. So that's just a quick tip. Go browse around Pinnacle, have a look at the limits that they're offering to bet there, and the smaller that number is, the easier they are to exploit. But overall, if your aim is to have fun with sports betting and you're not too concerned about, making too much money, if you're just looking to have a bit of fun on the weekend, you can probably ignore everything I've said. This is more for just people who are maybe looking to go professional or just take this really seriously and try and get an edge in a certain league or sport. But thanks for watching, everyone. Hopefully you got something out of this video and trying to take your betting to the next level. If you did enjoy, please give it a thumbs up, give it a like, subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you get a notification every time we post a new video like this. Cheers, guys.